Yo, what's up? What's up? This your guy Ray Harmer, one versus a million. Like, share, hit the follow for the Rumble, and also till you get the Cash App if you're willing. If you're willing to bless the Harmer Force. Yes, this is a Harmer Force movie night, but this is the introduction for the movie night, for the anime night. So, in this introduction, I'll be playing, stuff, that's related to the geek verse. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we're going to jump into that, because I've gathered up some videos for you guys, and that may be really intriguing to you as it was for me. So, so yeah, good afternoon, and know this that I'm not your fan, I'm not your stand, for I am brother, and yeah, man, whew, this is awesome. I can't wait, like, to watch to watch these shows with you guys. Especially the Chainsaw Man, like the movie. I still haven't seen it yet. So I basically kept my promise that I was going to hold it back until I watch it first with you guys, and then I'll end up giving my review about it. So, and then also I just want to share with you guys an anime that came out this year called the Sword of the Demon Hunter, in which I'm thinking about. I'm kind of interested now in this artist, in their work, so in the directors. So I may end up following them, to check out their previous work or any other new projects that they're working on. So, and this is just the first season, and in this first season, there's 24 episodes approximately, and the first episode is like 2 and 1. So they put their all into it, to bringing you a decent, crazy introduction, if you will, prologue to the show. So, and also we have after that we have One Piece, where we'll be going from where we left off. We'll be starting from where we left off, which was like we ended at 1146, and we'll be starting off at 1147 to 1150. So, which is the current episode, the latest episode. I'll be getting that for you guys. I don't know why my thumb, my I don't know why my thing is slow on showing my icon. Hmm, weird. But so you guys want to come through? The link is in the description for the Rumble. And oh yeah, man, I definitely have to mention this. One verse a million. Yeah, when I go over to some of you guys' channels, man, especially in the morning time and shit, just yeah, it's like, if you want your audience to bear with you and you trying to, you know, get enthusiastic or whatever for your live stream and shit, you know, you got to bear with your audience too. So, you got to bear with them, man, because like, man, just in all this whole, like getting upset, a little hot headed when motherfucker like just, type something into your stream, and you want to get upset and shit like that. Like, oh, why would you say that? I'm like, dude. And I started noticing this too, man. I started getting that from cats who are like older than me, you know what I mean, who are like well in their 40s and shit. And I'm like, yeah, that's unbecoming, So, like, as a content creator, like, man, like, God strike me down, man, if I ever make you guys feel like, that you have to walk on eggshells when it comes to like what you type and shit. Like, no, that's like everything you type, got to be in a total agreement with what I'm talking about. You know, You can't say anything that's like anywhere near close to the remote of where it will piss me off. It's just I'm like, come on, man. Like what kind of like self control advice that you can give to somebody if you're acting like that? Where you tell somebody, oh well, there's other channels, instead of looking at it objectively and being like, okay, well, this person told me, hey, about myself, and how I'm performing on my stream. So, huh, okay, I'm sounding a little slow, whatever. So I need to learn how to, pick up the pace a little bit. Okay, right on. Thank you. Instead of being like, oh well, you go to somebody else's channel. Hey, I'm like, motherfucker, how old are we? Stop it. And the motherfuckers want to get mad that I say that shit, yes, and I'm speaking to the whole general of motherfuckers of who I'm frequent. Yeah. Ray Hama, one part of my one versus a million, motherfucker. You shall not have me walk on eggshells, hot damn it. Let me tell you something about this here, you some bitches. All right, dig this here. Before I get into the content shit. I just want to get this out real quick. Yeah. All right, part of my one versus a million, okay, is to say fuck you and dig this here, and where you should be showing more appreciation towards your subscribers, you some bitches, instead of acting like, oh, because I got 5 to 10, 20 or 40,000. I don't care. So unsubscribe, motherfucker. She, who. Now, what if motherfuckers acted on the same accord, right? And you see a big ass drop in your damn subscription, your subscribers. What then, huh? Will you make the necessary adjustments within yourself to be better? And to drop the whole condescending asshole, dickhead ass attitude? Or will you keep it and just, like my ego, I gotta protect my ego. You, you motherfuckers like that, yeah, you can shove that ego right up your ass, right? Yeah. So you can miss me with all that. So motherfuckers, from now on, your motherfuckers get upset like y'all about to fucking blow a damn gasket from here on out. I don't give a fuck how long I've been subscribed to you motherfuckers. I shall not, in one versus a million in this bitch. Nigga, this is the Hama Force. I shall not fucking feel like I have to walk on eggshells, motherfucker, in order to be over your channel. If it's like that, hey, block me, do what the fuck you gotta do, because guess what? When you do that, treat your subscribers like that, guess what, some bitches? As you already know and have said it continuously, a lot of you, well, shoot, there's other channels, blah, blah, blah. You damn right, and thank God for it. Ha, ha, ha. Yes, thank God for it, you sons of bitches. Yeah. Because motherfuckers, yes, and as I've shown previously, damn it, in the past, year or two, some bitches, yeah, when I drop one motherfucker because you're on that hot-headed, stupid-ass, retarded-ass shit, but want to speak, damn it, to motherfuckers like you, some goddamn sage, yeah, when you in all actuality, you need to take 15,000 back seats. Yeah, when I drop one motherfucker, I end up filling that slot with two more other cats that seems to be cool. What I mean, just from the from the first gate. What I mean, but when we go through further, then in gate 5, you on some funny shit. I ain't got no qualms with dismissing your ass, knock the dust off my feet, and keep on moving. Like the good Lord said, hey man. Never act like them and you obsess over some motherfuckers. Like I said, it's my motto, motherfucker. One of my mottos. Some bitches. I'm not your stan. I'm not your fan. For I am brother. Yeah, hey, what's up, brother? GP. Yeah, if I type through the damn through the Rumble, it won't go through for some weird reason. I have to jump over whatever onto the YouTube. Yeah, I have to type back to you. But I see you. I see you. I see you, Double OG. I appreciate you, bro. Um, but yeah, I just have to get that off, man, because it's just a complainer is one A true complainer is one who is lazy and is always quick to pitch a gripe about something, even to the smallest things, to make it bigger than what the need be. But the righteous complaint come when one has endured as much as he fucking possibly can, and he tries to come to a snap, but it's a little bit more um, controlled. Like give you a stern talking to with a strong backbone. But now, as it seems, then with this fucked up ass westernized society, in which case, damn it, hell, Trump needs to fucking put his eyes on and get that shit fixed with the quickness of where, damn it, hell, now in this fucked up society, expressing a fucking backbone naturally as a man as God made you to be, damn it, hell, these motherfuckers make that a fucking crime. He was getting aggressive like he was about to attack me, or but he coming aggressive to me like he's like being a hothead, and then hear the dumb motherfuckers outside looking in coming to the rescue. Hey, oh now I gotta look at this like a martial art movie now damn it, with you 3 4 motherfuckers coming damn it to this lying ass falsehood bitch, yeah, to her fucking rescue, being her crash test dummy. Now, included with her, now, damn it, I gotta take all you motherfuckers out. Now I gotta look at you, all these demons coming at me. And then you're gonna go home, ass tore the fuck up, and regretting that you ever came to a lying bitch's aid. See, that's the domino effect of that shit that I just went through with you, right? Because that's how that shit can go. Especially too where there's been cases where that shit where sipping has cost motherfuckers' lives. All right. But I just broke all that shit down, man, real quick, yeah, because it's just super annoying. It just build it up, over time, over time, over time. Real man shit, we don't do no complaint shit, whatever, but damn it, but it is righteous and okay for a man to state what the fuck is bothering him. And he holds back, damn it, use wisdom to not, be high headed and quick tempered with shit when shit arises. But when shit's, keep on, keep it on, keep it on, keep it on, keep it on, you are in your natural right, damn, to say, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Stop that shit, man. Your attitude, your mannerisms, your behaviors is so otherworldly. It needs to fucking stop. So, but yeah. Yeah, like I said, I got some content, bro, for y'all, man. And shit. Back to the exciting part, man. But yeah, I found some funny shit. It was really funny to me. So, and I managed to put all the videos together. So I'll be, taking time, clicking on each one. So I found a way to be able to do that, which is sweet and cool. So, yeah, now we'll be diving into these platforms, man, these AI platforms, to see what they're about. See, I can navigate their tools, and get into my little artsy mode with it. So, yeah. Damn it, I don't figure out which one to play first with you guys, though, man. I'm kind of so excited about it. But yeah, give me a minute. Give me just like a minute. So I'm gonna put it on there for you guys right now and get to it because after this, couple hours, boom, because I already got it all queued up and shit, all the episodes and everything queued up. So yeah, which took me longer because I was wanting to go live yesterday, but I was like, damn, I forgot this other shit too, man, that I wanted to bring forth. So yeah, let's get to it right now. Off right there.
and out. Good. Let this relax here. Just kind of sink in. Good. Just like that. Coming back.
Yeah, that felt really good. That's a habit from swimming.
You nasty bitch. Oh, that motherfucker got out there quick. Oh, shit, let me play that. Oh, Lord, let me play. Oh, shit, some motherfuckers more thirsty, some bitches more be like, oh, girl, oh, boy, that smell like gumbo soup, girl. Oh, shit, a little bit of tofu. Oh boy, let me bite the cheek. Oh girl. Oh shit, you thirsty motherfuckers. Oh man. Oh shit, let me play that one more time. Ah. Oh no. Wrong one. Wrong one.
Soft breath in. Soft breath in and out. And out. Good. Let this relax. Good. Let this relax here. Just kind of sink. Good. Just like that. Good. Just like that. Coming back.
Yeah, that felt really good. That felt really good. That's a habit from swimming. That's a habit from swimming.
Ugh, nasty bitch. Man. I just want to shut that up and let me delete that shit off now. Oh yeah. And this was funny too. This is funny too. Check this out. Oh, that motherfucker said, oh shit. Oh, that motherfucker's like, oh shit, I'm hurt. Oh boy, you see Mama Tiger came through that motherfucker, boy. He said, oh shit. Oh, tell him something, Joe. Boy, that shit was hilarious. Oh, oh, boy. One more time. Oh, oh shit. And yeah, this one's just about a minute long, the one that the videos I put together. So yeah, we're gonna watch this one. All right. Is it showing?
If anyone objects to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace. If anyone objects to than shoelaces at a preschool.
Hilarious.
How do you say, let me hit that in Chinese? 让我打那个，让我打那个。啊
Hilarious. Oh boy. Oh shit. Little Asian girl at the end, boy. Shit, man. Yeah, girl, you damn right. Yeah, I want to hit that. Yeah. Yeah. How about devour that? Amen. 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 Whoo-wee. But that shit was hilarious, boy. Hey, I had to share that with you guys, man. Oh, yes, man, that AI shit, man, is crazy, dude. That's why, man, I'm like, damn, I have to get hip to this shit somehow. It's like, okay, in order for you to fully utilize these AI platforms, I'm wondering, like, is some of them free or, or all of them, across the board, you're going to have to come off a little bit of change in order to do a full style like some of these cats have been doing. Cause man, all the ideas, all the artsy creative ideas that is in my head, man. And it's been there for some years. Woo! Man. Boy, let me find some cats, man, that can help guide me, boy, through some of that shit, yeah? Help, yeah, man. Hear me? No bullshit. Man, I'll come out with some phenomenal shit. And I think, yeah, I got some a little bit more before we go into it's a little bit more the geek verse. Okay, here we go. Oh, well, that's shit. Yep, that was all my funnies I put together, man, because I was so focused on coming out with this geek content, man. And yeah, some of this shit, is gonna be like a blast from the past. And one of them is about a show that I have not seen yet that came out in 2011. And yeah, we'll be checking that out. Get rid of that, get that out the way. Yeah, okay. So, yep, and we'll go with this one. Here we go. Thundercats.
These lizards have done us no harm. They don't.
If you grew up in the 80s, which I believe is the golden era of cartoons, you've witnessed some of the classics that are popular even now. Today we're diving deep into one of the most beloved cartoons from the 1980s, Thundercats. Now, while the concept of the show might sound innocent enough, the series actually came with a lot of dark secrets and behind-the-scenes stories that will blow your mind. What I'm about to share with you in this video might completely change how you see this classic series, because we're exploring 10 dark and adult facts that were hiding in plain sight throughout Thundercats. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The uncomfortable truth about Lion-O's body. Let's start with something that's honestly pretty disturbing when you really think about it. Lion-O, our heroic leader of the Thundercats, has one of the most uncomfortable character concepts in cartoon history. When Thundera was destroyed and the Thundercats fled in their spaceship, Lion-O was just 12 or 13 years old, literally a child. But here's where things get really weird. His suspension capsule malfunctioned during their journey to Third Earth, causing his body to age physically into full adulthood, while his mind remained that of a young boy. Think about the implications of this for a second. We're watching a cartoon where the main character is essentially a child trapped in an adult man's body, forced to make life or death decisions and lead an entire civilization. He has to navigate romantic situations, command warriors in battle, and face psychological manipulation from villains, all while having the emotional maturity of a middle schooler. The show tried to address this by showing Lion-O gradually maturing throughout the series, but that doesn't change the fact that we're essentially watching a kid deal with incredibly adult situations while looking like a grown man. It's a concept that would never fly in today's animation landscape, and honestly, it adds a really dark layer to every decision Lion-O makes throughout the series. The series opened with full frontal nudity. The very first episode of Thundercats Exodus featured something absolutely shocking for a Saturday morning cartoon: full frontal nudity. When the Thundercats awakened from their suspension capsules on Third Earth, they were completely naked. Panthro, Tigra, Cheetara, Wily Kid, and Wily Cat all rose from their pods without a single stitch of clothing. Surviving production cells from that introductory sequence confirms that it wasn't an animation error. It was completely deliberate. Now, the benevolent spirit Jaga quickly swooped in to present them with armor and robes moments later, so it didn't last long on screen. But the fact that this happened at all is absolutely wild for a show marketed to children. The animators weren't creating erotic content, but they were threading the narrative with what older viewers could recognize as a subtle undercurrent of mature themes. Combined with Lionel's situation of being a child in an adult body, these nude scenes take on an even more unsettling dimension. Many fans who grew up watching the show later admitted to feeling an unnameable discomfort during these scenes, even if they couldn't articulate why at the time. It was a bold move that shattered Saturday morning animation conventions and injected adult-tinged shock into what was supposed to be a family entertainment. Drug addiction episodes that weren't subtle. The 1980s were infamous for their anti-drug PSAs, and the Thundercats definitely got in on that action. But they took it to some surprisingly dark places. In the episode The Garden of Delights, Tiger discovers an underground garden filled with psychedelic fruit that gives him intense hallucinations. A character named Silky offers him this fruit, and after eating it, Tiger experiences visions of flying and becomes completely addicted to the substance. The episode doesn't shy away from showing the effects of his addiction. He becomes aggressive, challenges Lion-O's authority, and completely neglects eating regular food. But here's where it gets even darker. Mum-Ra uses Tigra's addiction to manipulate him into stealing the Eye of Thundera. We literally watch a beloved hero become a slave to his substance abuse and betray his friends because of it. And this wasn't even Tigra's only drug episode. In Crystal Canyon, he gets addicted to a green crystal that functions like crystal meth, giving him bursts of energy while slowly destroying him. The episode shows him in full withdrawal, trembling and desperate for his next fix. For a kid's show, Thundercats pulled no punches in depicting the ugly reality of addiction, complete with betrayal, withdrawal symptoms, and the complete degradation of a hero's moral compass. Slavery was a recurring theme. Here's some of what always struck me as incredibly dark when rewatching Thundercats as an adult. Slavery is everywhere in this show, and it's treated almost casually. In just the 4th episode, The Slaves of Castle Plundar, we discover the mutants have enslaved an entire race called the Brute Men to build their fortress through forced labor. These beings are worked to exhaustion with no rights or freedom whatsoever. But it doesn't stop there. The 2011 reboot took these themes even further. There's an entire episode about the Burbles, small robot bears who are captured by a slave trader who values their technical skills. We literally watch cute robot bears being kidnapped and sold into slavery. And in the comics, particularly the controversial Thundercats The Return series from the 2000s, slavery becomes even more disturbing. The heroes themselves are depicted as slaves to Mum-Ra, with Panthro forced into mine labor and the other Thundercats scattered in various states of captivity. The fact that a show marketed to children so consistently featured enslaved populations and forced labor is pretty shocking when you really examine it. The controversial 2003 comic sexualized child characters. The 2003 comic miniseries Thundercats The Return took things into territory that shocked and disgusted fans. The comic depicted Wily Kid and Wily Cat, characters who were children in the original series, as Mum-Ra's personal slaves and concubines. Let me repeat that. The comic sexualized characters that audiences knew and loved as children. The series opened with a scantily clad Wily Kid bathing a naked Mum-Ra, with the comic explicitly referring to her as his concubine. Multiple scenes show her being service to Mum-Ra in ways that were beyond inappropriate. Even though these characters were technically aged up by 5 years in this timeline, fans quickly calculated that they would still have been underage minors when you did the math. The series also heavily implied that Cheetara had been repeatedly raped by Mum-Ra's mutant henchmen over the 3 years of captivity. She's shown chained to a pillar in torn clothing, while Mum-Ra coldly remarks about what those slovenly mutants have been doing to her. This transformation of beloved childhood heroes into sexual objects and victims of abuse was so jarring that many fans declared their childhood had been ruined, and the comic book became one of the most reviled revivals of that era. Death and violence were more explicit than you remember. When I went back and rewatched Thundercats recently, I was struck by just how violent some episodes actually were. Sure, most episodes featured the typical cartoon violence where nobody really gets hurt, but there were moments that went way beyond that. In Thundercats The Return comics, we see Bengali's bones left on display in the team's former headquarters as a gruesome warning to potential rebels. That's right, the skeletal remains of a beloved character used as decoration. The 2011 reboot didn't pull punches either. In the premiere episode, we witnessed the genocide of the Thunderian people, with King Claudius murdered by Mum-Ra right in front of his son. The violence is brutal and unflinching. Lion-O literally has to watch his father die, and the show doesn't shy away from the psychological trauma this causes. In various episodes throughout the original series and reboot, we see characters breaking necks, impaling enemies, and engaging in combat that would be considered intense by even today's standards. In Thundercats: The Return, Lion-O goes on an actual killing spree, snapping mutant necks and leading a slave uprising that results in mass casualties. And let's not forget the episode The Last Day, which featured apocalyptic destruction so intense that many fans believe it could have been banned for being too dark for a Saturday morning show. Mum-Ra's transformation is body horror. Let's talk about Mum-Ra for a second, because his transformation sequence is legitimately nightmare fuel. We're introduced to Mum-Ra as this withered, decayed corpse wrapped in bandages, essentially a walking mummy with rotting flesh barely clinging to bones. But when he invokes the ancient spirits of evil with his famous incantation, we witness one of the most disturbing transformation sequences in cartoon history. His decayed body suddenly expands and grows nearly 5 feet tall, muscles bulging and exploding through his withered form. Skin stretches and reforms as he transforms from a shambling corpse into a muscular warrior. The transformation is visceral and unsettling. You can practically hear bones cracking and flesh tearing as his body contorts. And here's the real dark part. Mum-Ra is absolutely terrified of his own reflection. His greatest weakness is seeing his own face, because his transformed appearance is so horrifying that even he can't bear to look at it. Think about that for a moment. Our main villain is literally so monstrous that he frightens himself. This adds a tragic, almost sympathetic dimension to his character, suggesting that his transformation into Mum-Ra, the ever-living, might be more of a curse than a blessing. The body horror implications of repeatedly transforming between a corpse and a muscular form, never being able to escape the decay, is genuinely dark stuff for what's supposed to be a kid's show. Psychological manipulation and mind control were constant threats. One aspect of Thundercats that really hits different when you're an adult is just how much psychological warfare and mind control happens throughout the series. Mum-Ra is a master manipulator who excels at corrupting heroes and breaking their minds. In the 2011 reboot, we see him manipulate Groon's ambition and paranoia to make him betray his best friend Panthro and all of Thundera. He used Groon's feelings of inadequacy and desire for power to turn him into a traitor who helped orchestrate genocide. But it gets even more disturbing with Myra's storyline. Mum-Ra found her dying after the fall of Thundera and used her hatred of Lion-O, whom she blamed for supposedly abandoning her, to manipulate her into becoming his spy. He didn't just recruit her, he psychologically groomed a traumatized dying woman into betraying the man she once loved. The show depicts her toying with Lion-O's emotions, making him fall for her, only to reveal it was all an act to serve Mum-Ra. That's some seriously dark emotional manipulation. Then there's the episode Psych Out, where the lunatic Aluro uses a powerful talisman to strip the Thundercats of all their self-confidence, leaving them hopeless, confused, and unable to function. Watching beloved heroes reduced to broken shells of themselves through psychological torture is genuinely unsettling. The series tackled genocide and colonialism. Thundercats is fundamentally a story about genocide, colonialism, and the sins of imperialism. The series opens with the complete destruction of Thundera, the Thundercats' home planet. We're watching a cartoon about genocide survivors fleeing their annihilated world. Every single Thundercat is a refugee who watched their civilization burn. But the recent Dynamite comic series reveals something even darker about Thundera's history. It turns out that Third Earth, the planet where the Thundercats settle, was actually a penal colony where Thundera banished its worst criminals for countless years. Think about that. The heroes of our story come from an empire that used Third Earth as a dumping ground for undesirables. The comic also reveals that Thunderian forces committed numerous war atrocities, including kidnapping Slith's family and making him believe they were dead, which drove him to seek revenge. Suddenly, the mutants' hatred for the Thundercats makes a lot more sense. They're not just evil for evil's sake, they're fighting against colonizers who have a dark history of oppression. The show presents a much more nuanced picture of colonialism than you'd expect from a Saturday morning cartoon, showing that the Thundercats' arrival on Third Earth is essentially a continuation of Thundera's imperialist legacy. The final episode featured genuine apocalyptic horror. Let me tell you about The Last Day, an episode that still gives fans chills decades later. This wasn't your typical Thundercats episode, where everything wraps up nicely. The ancient spirits of evil give Mum-Ra an ultimatum: destroy the Thundercats by sundown, or be banished forever. To accomplish this, Mum-Ra grows to about 60 times his normal size, and begins causing earthquakes and volcanic eruptions all over Third Earth, The episode opens with the Thundercats calculating that the entire planet will be destroyed in less than 12 hours. We're talking complete planetary annihilation. Every living being on Third Earth is facing extinction. Mum-Ra systematically hunts down and captures each Thundercat, banishing them into a spectral realm while entombing Lion-O underground. Then, in what might be the most intense scene in the entire series, Mum-Ra destroys the Tower of Omens and storms Cat's Lair itself. The sanctuaries where the Thundercats felt safe are violated and torn apart with bare hands. Mum-Ra circles Lion-O's stone prison slowly, dragging his claws over the surface with a screech like nails on a chalkboard, whispering promises of torment in an almost intimate, psychologically torturous way. The episode ends on a cliffhanger with the sun setting and Lion-O still trapped, making audiences genuinely believe this might be the end. The apocalyptic stakes, combined with Mum-Ra's most brutal and sadistic behavior, made The Last Day feel more like psychological horror than children's entertainment. Marvelous Verdict, a cult classic with some dark secrets. These dark and adult facts about Thundercats prove that this wasn't just another innocent cartoon from the 1980s. From child protagonists in adult bodies to full frontal nudity, drug addiction, slavery, sexualization of minors in comics, explicit violence, body horror, psychological manipulation, colonial guilt, and genuine apocalyptic terror. Thundercats pushed boundaries in ways that most Saturday morning cartoons wouldn't dare. Looking back at the series now, it's clear that the creators were threading mature themes throughout the show that flew right over the kids' heads, but registered with adult viewers. Whether intentional or not, Thundercats ended up being one of the most complex and darkest animated series of its era, dealing with heavy subject matter under the guise of heroic fantasy adventures. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark side of Thundercats, make sure to hit that button and subscribe for more content exploring the hidden depths of your favorite childhood shows. Drop a comment below telling me which of these facts shocked you the most, or if there are other dark elements from the Thundercats that I missed. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, yeah. Um, that kind of blew my mind because this was like, the first time me seeing this video. Yeah, wow. Damn, Thundercats had that shit going on, like genocide, slavery, drugs, and all that shit, and psychological manipulation. Are you kidding me? But then again, at the same time, though, like he said, like, okay, the 2011 version enhanced it. Well, then I would dare to say, well, Family Guy, motherfuckers, Family Guy, fucking Futurama. Yeah, like there's been plenty of other dark shit that's came out, like, way before then that kids have been, allowed to watch right along with Family Guy now. So yeah, like you might as well cancel this whole keeping shit from your kids, like they got those little protections and all that stuff, but with the influences of their peers, yeah, can't really keep shit from them, for long. It's just, you might as well just, expose it to them, before their friends, show it to them, and then you can be able to give them a better and educated explanation of what they're seeing. So, yeah. I got another video for you guys, and it's about the Thundercats, a different one, and yeah, I think it's this one.
Thundercats began in the 80s and really clawed their way into the hearts and minds of young children. Then they tried to roar back in 2011, hoping and expecting to milk the same craze they enjoyed 3 decades prior. The original 1985 Thundercats ran for 4 seasons, 130 episodes in all, and was a textbook example of the era's toy-driven animated series industry. In those days, the show's Adventure of the Week format also served as a 22-minute toy commercial. On the screen, Lion-O and crew battled killed evil, which in turn enticed kids to beg for action figures, vehicles, and playsets. It was cool, you see, and kids wanted to show off the action figures and the toys of the heroes they were watching. Now, this was a time when computers and mobiles were not a thing, which meant that the kids were not used to seeing their heroes anywhere else, apart from the TV screens, and they were not really saturated. Naturally, the whole toys and Cartoon Networks were a hugely successful mission back then. In the mid-80s, Thundercats, produced by Rankin Bass and animated in Japan by Topcraft, became one of the decade's cartoon juggernauts, part of the unregulated direct marketing to kids phenomenon. Those of you who were kids back in the 80s would now fondly remember the show's fantasy sci-fi premise. You know, the whole cat-like heroes on Third Earth fighting the evil mummy Mum-Ra, but even fonder memories might be of those finding piles of Thundercat toys under the Christmas tree. So, because of such a great response, there came the 2011 version, which added more backstory to the heroes and had a darker feel about it while retaining the factors that made the original work. But it ended right after one season. So what the hell happened to Thundercats 2011? Well, that's what we're here to find out. But before I continue, please consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons. Those 2 small clicks from you will help us tremendously in bringing you more of these marvelous videos. And now, let's carry on. So the 2010s were a decade of nostalgia. Creative people who had grown up watching the stuff were now in charge of creating things, and that's why we got IPs like Transformers and He-Man, among others. By the late 2000s, studios were mining every beloved 80s franchise for a reboot. Fans who grew up on Thundercats had watched other childhood favorites return in more contemporary forms. For instance, G.I. Joe returned with an adult-oriented animated special and a live-action film around 2009, and Michael Bay's Transformers films dominated the box office. Warner Brothers, which had acquired the Thundercats property in 1989 after absorbing Lorimar Telepictures, finally decided it was Thunderian time. In 2011, in partnership with the Cartoon Network, they launched a reimagined Thundercats aimed not just at a new generation of kids, but also at those older fans hungry for a more mature take on Lion-O's saga. From the outset, the Thundercats reboot from 2011 set a different tone. I won't say sacrificed, but it definitely traded the original cartoon's mostly episodic storytelling for a serialized, epic that would go on for multiple seasons. The new show's creators, namely Michael Jelenic and Ethan Spalding, planned an ambitious 3-season arc, which they even structured as chapters with continuous plot development and character growth. This was no longer what they called a Villain of the Week reboot. This one here aimed to deepen the lore and the stakes. In contrast to the straightforward good versus evil morality plays of the 80s, the 2011 series added complexity by exploring prejudice between species, questions of leadership, betrayals, and ancient secrets. So you see, it was targeted towards a slightly older audience than the 80s cartoon. Even the visual style was chosen to ensure that this new show looked like an upgrade. Warner Brothers Animation came together with renowned Japanese studio, Studio 4 Degrees C, to give the show an anime-inspired flair. The result was artwork and action sequences far more fluid and cinematic than the old shows. Now we had dynamic angles and detailed character designs. The Thundercats themselves were redesigned. So Lion-O, for example, appeared as a leaner teenage version of the character, instead of a boy magically aged into an adult body as in the original. The new designs kept elements that worked for the first one, for instance, Lion-O's spiky red hair and claw shield, but infused them with a modern anime aesthetic that I think was both beautiful and very fluid in motion. If you think about it, it was the Thundercats for the anime era, and longtime fans were quick to notice and appreciate touches like the characters' expressive eyes and sharper costumes. Even the original Lion-O, Larry Kenney, returned in a cameo as King Claudius, or Lion-O's father, thereby passing the torch to the new voice cast. When the show actually aired, critics and audiences initially responded well, so much so that the hour-long premiere episode in July 2011 drew about 2.4 million viewers and a strong 0.8 rating on cable, and reviews were largely positive. Many felt the show successfully captured the true spirit of the original while shedding some of the cheesier 80s traits. In fact, a few critics said that the reboot reboot echoes the fun, wonder, and coolness of the classic characters and adds new layers. The tone was indeed darker, moodier, and character-driven, and they focused on the all-too-human flaws of the heroes. For example, young Lion-O in this version has to earn leadership and overcome self-doubt, rather than simply inheriting a title. Story arcs spanned multiple episodes, like the fall of Thundera, an exodus and quest narrative, and an overarching race between Lion-O and Mum-Ra to collect ancient power stones that would decide Third Earth's fate. All these elements made the 2011 Thundercats feel more like a fantasy saga than a simple Saturday morning cartoon. Yet even as fans were getting invested, trouble lurked on the horizon, like Mum-Ra's logistic and monetary curses. One issue was something TV experts call the Friday night death slot. Cartoon Network scheduled Thundercats at 8:30 p.m. on Friday nights. Traditionally, in American television, Friday evening is where shows go to die because at this hour, the young target audiences are often out of their homes or otherwise occupied, and overall TV viewership is low. For an action animation show trying to hook kids and teens, this slot was especially unforgiving. Indeed, the history of TV is littered with great series that perished on Fridays due to ratings dips. The original Star Trek is a famous example, nearly killed by NBC's Friday scheduling in the 60s. In the 2000s, networks recognized that young viewers don't stay home on Fridays, and advertisers won't pay top dollar for those time slots. Unfortunately, Thundercats 2011 became a victim of this pattern. Its initial audience of over 2 million didn't hold, and as weeks went by, the numbers started to disappear. While the show maintained a dedicated fan base, casual viewers, especially kids, were often missing in action on Fridays. Then there was also the small matter of poor scheduling consistency. Cartoon Network sometimes shuffled the show's airtime or preempted it, making it hard for viewers to keep up. This perception that the network sabotaged its own show by moving it around might have some degree of exaggeration, but it only shows the frustration that fans had in their hearts. The bitter truth was that Thundercats never became a must-see hit for the broader audience by Nielsen standards. By the end of its 26-episode first season, which wrapped in June 2012, viewership was averaging around 1.5 million, down from that strong start. In isolation, those numbers weren't disastrous, and were in fact decent for a cable cartoon. But you see, as is the case with many of these shows, the ratings alone weren't enough to secure a renewal. Why? Because, as with many animated series, the real battle wasn't just on screen, but on toy shelves. For Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers, Thundercats needed to pull its weight as a merchandise mover. Toy sales, or lack thereof, are often the silent executioner of action cartoons. In the case of Thundercats 2011, Bandai had rolled out an extensive toy line alongside the show's launch. They covered both angles, as in figures of the new versions of Lion-O, Panthro, Chitara, etc., as well as classic figures of their 1980s designs for the nostalgia collectors. The toys were cleverly designed with features like magnet-activated gear, the Thunderlink system, that would unlock gimmicks in vehicles like the Thunder Tank. They even made role-play toys like a Sword of Omens and Claw Shield so kids could play out adventures. In theory, it was a robust merchandise plan, yet it didn't translate into sales success. Retailers reported Thundercats figures stagnating on shelves, and kids just weren't begging for them the way the toy makers hoped. Possibly the show's older tone meant that a lot of the viewers were nostalgic adults who might collect high-end toys, but not mass-market Bandai figures, while many kids who would want action figures weren't as tuned into this series. So it's safe to say that Warner made a show for older audiences and put it in a later time slot, but the toys were aimed at a younger demographic. And naturally, the coordination between content and merchandise was off-kilter. As a result, by the time Season 1 ended, Thundercats merchandise was underperforming, and in the cold calculus of kids' TV, disappointing toy revenue is a death knell. So Cartoon Network in the early 2010s had a clear message to showrunners about selling the toys or saying goodbye. In fact, Thundercats wasn't alone here. The network also canceled Young Justice and Green Lantern the animated series around the same time, explicitly because the toy tie-ins underperformed. And mind you, these shows had fervent fan followings. Another action series, Symbionic Titan, was axed after one season, literally because it had no toy line at all. So yeah, it was a harsh era for action cartoons. Beyond ratings and toys, there were other production challenges as well that nibbled away at Thundercats 2011. The animation quality, which fans and critics loved, didn't come cheap. Much of the work was done in Japan by Studio 4 Degrees C, and around 2011, unexpected factors caused costs to spike. The value of the Japanese yen rose against the dollar, meaning Cartoon Network's dollars didn't stretch as far as budgeted. By one account, a payment that would have been $100,000 ended up around $107,800 due to exchange rates shifting. This was around the same period as the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and Fukushima disaster, which shook Japan's economy. While Thundercats production wasn't directly disrupted by the disaster, the stronger yen and possibly other cost considerations suddenly made each episode more expensive for the network than initially planned. In short, Thundercats became a pricey show to produce at a time when Cartoon Network was tightening its belt. At the end of the day, we weren't getting the airtime, and it was challenging, art director Dan Norton reflected on the situation. The higher-ups saw a show pulling modest toy dollars, losing steam in ratings, and costing a lot in animation. A tough sell for renewal. And then came an unexpected competitor that proved to be the final nail in the Thundercats coffin, and it was called Lego. In a story that's worthy of a Thundercats plot, Lego almost saved the show, then ended up effectively replacing it. So what happened there? Well, during 2012, as Season 1 aired, Warner Brothers was in talks with the Lego Group to create building sets based on various WB properties. Thundercats was initially a part of those discussions, so we almost had Lion-O's Sword of Omens in brick form, or the Cat's Lair as a Lego playset. In fact, Lego reportedly began developing prototypes for Thundercats sets, and the Thundercats team was actively working on Season 2 concepts with a Lego partnership in mind. This could have been a merchandising lifeline, since Lego toys might succeed where action figures struggled. However, when Warner Brothers and Lego finalized their big partnership, which gave birth to the Lego Movie and more, Thundercats was not included. Instead, Lego took many of the ideas, like anthropomorphic animal factions, a mix of medieval-style tribes and tech, and spun up its own original theme called Legends of Chima. In 2013, just a year after Thundercats went off air, Lego's Legends of Chima premiered as both a toy line and an animated series. To fans of Thundercats, Chima felt eerily familiar. It featured a lion prince called Laval of the Lion Tribe and his allies that included eagles, gorillas, etc., and they all battled this crocodile prince called Cragger of the Crocodile Tribe and other villainous animal clans over a power source called Chi. Laval even had spiky red hair and a big sword, much like Lion-O did. Essentially, Lego had taken the Thundercats concept, filed off the serial numbers, and produced a hit kids franchise of its own. Dan Norton and team realized that once Chima hit the scene, their show was truly done for. As Norton put it, there was no way because it felt so borrowed. You can't take it from a serious thing to a kid thing and then try to reboot Thundercats after that. The existence of Legends of Chima meant that Cartoon Network now had a lucrative animal fantasy toy cartoon, and Lego sets were flying off the shelves, so the incentive to revive Thundercats 2011 evaporated. In an almost poetic way, the Thundercats were usurped by copycats. With all these forces against it, Thundercats 2011 quietly met its end. After What Lies Above Part 2, the final episode of Season 1 aired, which by the way left many plot threads dangling, Cartoon Network made no renewal announcement. At San Diego Comic-Con 2012, the producers had to tell curious fans that the show was on hiatus with an uncertain future. By early 2013, it became clear that hiatus was really cancellation, and Dan Norton confirmed that no further episodes would be produced. It was an abrupt end, made more painful by the numerous cliffhangers and story arcs left unresolved. Over time, the creative team let slip details of what Season 2 and beyond would have been, and it's enough to make any Thundercats diehard ache for what might have been. According to interviews and a 2017 podcast with the creators, Season 2 would have dramatically expanded the Thundercats mythos. For example, we would learn that Mum-Ra had a direct hand in the creation of the Snarfs, possibly explaining why Snarf, Lion-O's pet, is more than a cute mascot, but actually ties into the ancient power balance. There were plans to reveal the history between Slythe, the Lizard General, and Lynxo, one of the elder Thundercats not yet seen in the show, showing how the lizards came to side with Mum-Ra. The Thunder Kittens, Wily Kit and Wily Cat, were in for a wild arc. At one point, they'd be tricked by Mum-Ra into delivering the Sword of Omens to him, leading to them being sent to a mysterious place called Eldara, an adventure that would test the siblings on their own. Fans were particularly shocked to hear that Pumaira, the treacherous Thunderian introduced in Season 1, was set for much, much darker events. You see, Mum-Ra would transform Pumaira into a horrible insectoid monster as his agent to hunt the Thundercats. If that sounds scary for a kid's show, well, the writers were truly going for high stakes. The grand quest for the 4 Power Stones would have continued, and we'd finally learn the name of the last stone, the Soul Stone, completing the set alongside the Tech, Spirit, and War Stones that had been mentioned. All these revelations barely scratch the surface of the Season 2 ideas floating around. Reportedly, there were notions of Lion-O undergoing 10 years of training in the Book of Omens, with a time skip in the story, and emerging older and wiser. There were potential crossovers or nods to other Rankin Bass creations like Silverhawks. One idea was to have the Silverhawks team appear via sci-fi travel. Even new family dynamics, such as the possibility that Tigra and Chitara would have a child, introducing Bengali as their son, and yes, even a controversial hint that adult Wily Kit could eventually become Lion-O's queen. All of this tantalizing material lives only in concept art and interviews now. The show we got ended on a hopeful note of, "We'll find the next stone," but the audience never got closure. The cancellation of Thundercats 2011 was a bitter pill for its passionate fan community, but they didn't let the flame die. In late 2012, Cartoon Network's late-night Toonami block on Adult Swim picked up Thundercats reruns and brought the series to more viewers, including many who missed it the first time around due to that ill-fated scheduling. From October 2012 to mid-2013, Lion-O and company prowled the 2:30 a.m. time slot on Toonami, often paired with Symbionic Titan as part of an action cartoon revival for Insomniac fans. This gave the show a second life of sorts, and it's one reason Thundercats 2011 earned a cult status in subsequent years. As the years passed, appreciation for the 2011 series only grew. It helped that the show's entire run became easily accessible. Warner Brothers released it on Blu-ray, and streaming services, first Hulu, then later others, carried it, allowing binge-watching that highlighted the strength of its continuous story. I mean, people even organized online to talk about the 2011 show, be it forums, subreddits, or social media, and they shared concept art and scripts from the aborted Season 2, keeping hope alive that maybe, someday, the Thundercats could roar again. This persistent fan buzz is likely one reason Warner Brothers tried a very different reboot in 2020, Thundercats Roar. That version was a complete tonal whiplash, if you will. I mean, it was this brightly colored comedic take in a Cal Arts-esque style focused at much younger humans. Thundercats Roar didn't last long and lived only through one season of brief episodes, and was met with a mixed response at best. Many of the 2011 series fans were especially harsh on Roar because they felt it was a disrespectful parody of something they loved. But some would argue that Roar was Warner Brothers' course correction after the 2011 show proved that a more mature approach had trouble sustaining itself financially. Cartoon Network's priorities in the 2010s had changed, and they basically focused more on comedy, randomness, and simplistic styles that could produce breakout hits like Adventure Time, Regular Show, or Teen Titans Go. Additionally, these shows were cheaper to make and easier to churn out without a toy line gamble. In that climate, A lore-heavy, serious adventure like Thundercats 2011 just didn't fit the network's strategy, unless it carried a huge merchandising upside. It's telling that Warner Brothers has since opted to license Thundercats mostly for adult collector products, like high-end figurines by companies such as Super 7, rather than attempt another kids' action show in the same vein. Beyond business factors, it's worth noting that Thundercats 2011 faced a unique challenge with its audience. It had to please two very different groups: the old-school Thundercats fans who cherished the 1985 series, and a new generation with no preconceptions. This led to a bit of a split fan base. Many longtime fans adored the 2011 reboot for taking their childhood heroes seriously, exactly what they had fantasized about as kids. But others were more purist, and criticized the changes in characterization and lore. For instance, in the original, Tigra was a wise, calm architect and elder warrior. In 2011, Tigra became Lion-O's adoptive older brother and was depicted as someone who was absolutely brash, cocky, and frequently butting heads with Lion-O. He even uses a high-tech pistol in addition to his whip, a far cry from the purely genteel Tigra of old. Some fans found this rivalry angle intriguing and fresh, others lamented that Tigra's mature mentor vibe was lost. Similarly, the reboot's Chitara was de-aged and placed in a love triangle between the brothers, eventually choosing Tigra. To some, this humanized the characters. To others, it was unwelcome teen dynamics in their Thundercats. And perhaps the biggest sticking point was Snarf. The 1980s Snarf was a talking, goofy sidekick who often acted as comic relief. The 2011 team made Snarf a pet-like creature who did not speak, aside from making cute animal noises, and mainly served as a mascot and occasionally as a helper. This was quite divisive. A number of old fans were actually relieved. These were those who found the original Snarf annoying. Oh, and I am one of those guys, by the way. But a vocal contingent felt that making Snarf effectively a Pokemon took away an element of the original's charm. On the other hand, younger viewers or those new to Thundercats often had no such baggage and could enjoy the show as is. In fact, many new fans drawn in by the anime styling had trouble going back to the very dated 1985 series after seeing the sophisticated 2011 version. This obviously led to online debates and wars about the question if Thundercats 2011 was a faithful reboot or a radical reimagining. Some falsely believe that fans only love the 2011 show for its anime action and mature themes, but that's not entirely true. We can't forget that the 2011 version was largely Thundercats at its core. The reboot did honor a lot of the classic elements. I mean, think about it. Almost every major character from the old show appears in some form, and many classic episodes, like Lion-O's anointment trials, were slyly worked into the story. Still, it is true that the reboot's tone was a bit different. The original was optimistic, campy, and morally straightforward, a product of its time. The reboot was shaded in grays and was willing to let the heroes fail or make mistakes. In fact, the show often dabbled its claws in themes like racism, for instance, how Thunderian cats treated reptilians and other species, that the original only superficially touched. And I believe these were welcome changes that were made, bearing in mind the effect that cartoons can have on young minds. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to live in a world without oppression and racism? Well, actually, don't answer that here. Anyway, whether one prefers one version or the other comes down to personal taste. So what is the legacy of Thundercats 2011? In many ways, it's become a cult classic as far as animated shows are concerned. You know, kind of like the Wanted 2008 of cartoons. Speaking of Wanted, that one has a whole other story, and did you know that it was actually inspired from a comic book? Yeah. Anyway, coming back to Thundercats 2011, its single season is often held up as an example of an excellent show that was cut short by the business realities of TV. The term ahead of its time might be apt, because in the streaming era now, a show like Thundercats might have thrived on Netflix or Amazon, where viewership numbers and toy sales mean less than subscriber engagement. Some fans actively campaigned for Netflix to rescue the series, especially after seeing Netflix successfully revive Voltron with a well-received new series. Though those efforts didn't pan out, Hope never truly dies in the age of reboots. Warner Brothers has intermittently hinted at Thundercats projects, like a long gestating, and by long I mean very and absolutely and pathetically long gestating, live-action CGI film. In fact, the franchise still appears in merchandise and even crossovers, like when the Thundercats teamed up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in a comic not too long ago, and the characters occasionally cameo in other media too. The Toonami reruns and streaming availability ensured that the 2011 series kept finding new viewers, gradually building the recognition that, yes, this was something special. When one watches it now, it feels like a contained epic that ends on a frustrating cliffhanger, but the journey getting there is high-quality stuff. The music was a sweeping orchestral score by Kevin Cleach, and the voice acting, with talents like Will Friedle, Emmanuel Shrieky, D. Bradley Barker, and the legendary Clancy Brown, give it a feature film polish. If nothing else, Thundercats 2011 proved that this franchise can be adapted for modern audiences in a serious, artful way, a point not lost on older fans who might have initially been skeptical. Lessons were learned from the rise and fall of Thundercats 2011. For future reboots, and not just of Thundercats, but any classic property, it's a case study in balancing art, fans, and finance. Creatively, the 2011 team showed that respecting the source material while also innovating yields the best reception. They earned praise for layering the story and characters more deeply while still evoking the coolness of the original. But on the business side, it was a warning that you can pour love and talent into a revival, but if the show's target age group isn't clearly defined and reached, and if the ancillary product strategy misfires, the plug can be pulled irrespective of the show's quality. Perhaps if Thundercats had premiered a few years later on a streaming platform with lower pressure for immediate toy profits, we might have seen all those planned story arcs unfold. On the fan management side, the lesson might be to communicate. Cartoon Network never explicitly announced the cancellation until fans had figured it out, which left a lot of people hanging and hoping in 2012-2013. An early confirmation might have even prompted fans to organize a Save Our Show campaign or drive up home media sales. Who knows? Nonetheless, Thundercats 2011 remains a beloved entry in the franchise. In fact, it's arguably eclipsed the original series in critical esteem. Many fans today recommend newcomers watch the 2011 series as the definitive Thundercats experience, with the caveat that it ends too soon.
Okay, yeah, there we go. We're back. Yeah, man, that's you see, yeah, they should have went on ahead and put on, through Netflix, man. They should have produced the 2011 version on Netflix. But I'm thinking I may still check it out, even though it's a one shot. I mean, I can't say, oh well, since it's well known now. Okay, they're supposed to be a continuation, but they cut it short. Made it into a one shot. Because of sales and stuff. And they try to target two different audience, two different groups of audiences: the young and the veterans of the show. Shit, I mean, there's other projects, hey, that have done well. Hence, as you mentioned, they have rebooted on Netflix the Voltron, which I'm going to be seeing that as well. But also too, man, what people got to take into consideration is the fact that there's other badass shows that are going on and are coming out. And a lot of people are attracted to. A lot of people, young and older, are attracted to what when it comes to cartoon type shit, anime. Now it's like I'm sensing this where it's like basically where they're Hollywood and them are trying to keep, kid cartoons alive type of shit. But it's just, it don't hold the same spirit, man, as it did back then, from when we was kids. Because, because I'm in my late 30s. So, yeah, I mean, if they would have put on Netflix, then hey, then it could have possibly gotten a hold of to newer newcomers, and also too the sales and stuff like that, not looking good could be due to because the older generation failed to expose the young to Thundercats and shit. Because if they did, then hey, but or possibly it could be at the time where was when that came out. There was other shows that was more captivating and more capturing of the attention of the young viewers. That could very well play a factor into it. So, but yeah, that was very interesting. And from what I've seen, in those clips, 2011, reboot that motherfucker it looks a little decent, I'll say. The artwork and everything, so it looks a little decent. Even though we know what the original story, as the dude said in the previous video, that that Thundercats, the original, had this dark undertones that went over a lot of our heads, because we was young and we was like, hey, Thundercats, this action and, hey, there's motherfucking humanoid cat looking motherfuckers, this badass and just taking care of business. But man, I ain't really that surprised with that, as I thought about it, because I was like, well, there was a bunch of other dark bullshit, that was revealed with other older shows. Like there is even cartoons that were even older than Thundercats. So yeah, even uh, racial undertones. So, but this one we are going to check out, and this thing is slow. I'm coming up with my damn icon. I wish it would get better with that because I do have a strong signal. Oh, thank you, Rumble. And they work. That's one of the things you need to work on, which is why I'm not giving it 5-star yet until they fix this little media player shit. But yeah, I got another one for you guys. But it's not Thundercats. This one has a stronger fan base, way stronger fan base. And this video I have not seen yet. It's another video I haven't seen yet. Really, these videos I showed you guys, I haven't seen yet besides the funny shit, which is hilarious. So yeah, we will check that out. Thank you guys for coming through. Please make sure you hit the like, share, follow, subscribe, and if you're willing, bless the Alma Force through the Cash App, which should be in the description as well, right along with the link to the Rumble channel for you guys to come through to the Rumble. Because like I said, after I'm done with this, as soon as I'm done with this, hit the clock, for 2 hours. Give it 2 hours, and I'll be firing up the movie night or the anime night. So yeah. But this is basically an introduction, to bring guys to the movie night. So I mean, you guys see the thumbnail, whatever, in the Rumble. So when you see the Rumble symbol, that's the introduction for you, to know, hey, I'm about to show some shit on Rumble. Bring your asses over. All right. So yeah. Can get rid of that. So Yeah, okay. Now, here we go. I'm about to play this one, which, this has a list of the characters and creatures and stuff like that. So, yeah, that I haven't seen before. And it seemed to be very, highly intriguing to me. It may be very intriguing to you as well. So let's check that out. No more talk.
I think we can all agree that the Alien and Predator franchises are the OGs of the sci-fi horror universe, and nothing spells cosmic horror and creature horror better than these terrifying creatures. However, today we're diving deep into something that I've been super excited to cover: all the alien creatures in the AVP universe that aren't xenomorphs. I know we all love those acid-bleeding nightmares, but trust me, there's an entire galaxy of terrifying creatures out there that deserve some spotlight. So grab your popcorn and let's explore these cosmic horrors together as I delve into these nightmarish creatures in this video. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Yautja, predators. Let's start with the big boys. The Yautja, better known as predators. These guys are basically the ultimate hunters of the universe, and honestly, they're fascinating beyond just being movie monsters. Picture this 8-foot-tall humanoid aliens with mandibles that look like they could tear through steel, and they basically live for the hunt. What I find incredible about the Yautja is their entire society revolves around hunting dangerous prey. They're not just randomly violent, they have this complex honor code that governs everything they do. Young predators, called unblooded, have to prove themselves by taking down xenomorphs or other deadly creatures to earn their place in society. It's like the most extreme coming-of-age ceremony you could imagine. Their technology is insane too. We're talking cloaking devices that bend light around them, plasma cannons that can blast through concrete, and those iconic wrist blades that extend like deadly switch knives. But here's what's really cool. They don't just use high-tech gear. They also hunt with traditional weapons like spears and nets, because the hunt itself is more important than just winning. The Yautja come from a planet called Yautja Prime, which orbits a binary star system and has these extreme environments ranging from radioactive deserts to humid jungles. They've been visiting Earth for thousands of years, teaching early humans to build pyramids and basically setting themselves up as gods. Talk about playing the long game. Engineer Space Jockey. Now, let's talk about the engineers. These guys are probably the most mysterious and terrifying creatures in the entire franchise. When I first saw them in Prometheus, I was genuinely unsettled. Picture a 9-foot-tall, completely hairless humanoid with pale grey skin and these haunting, expressionless faces. Here's the mind-blowing part. The engineers are essentially our creators. They seeded life on Earth billions of years ago by sacrificing one of their own, breaking down his DNA, and mixing it with early microorganisms. So technically, humans and engineers share almost identical DNA. We're like their children. But here's where it gets dark. The engineers apparently regretted creating humanity and decided to wipe us out using the same black goo pathogen they used to create life. They were literally planning genocide against their own creation. That's some serious cosmic horror right there. What makes engineers so terrifying isn't just their size, it's their incredible strength and advanced technology. We've seen them overpower predators in direct combat, shrugging off plasma blasts and requiring multiple hunters to take down. Their ships and bioweapons are thousands of years ahead of anything we have. They're basically gods who decided their creation was a mistake. The engineers represent this cosmic indifference that's so scary. They created us, then decided to destroy us, all without any emotional attachment. They're the ultimate absent parent turned genocidal, and that's what makes them so unsettling to me. Praetomorph. The Praetomorph from Alien Covenant is basically what happens when an android with a god complex tries to create the perfect organism. David, that creepy synthetic, used engineer black goo to bioengineer these things on Planet 4, and honestly, they're almost as terrifying as regular xenomorphs. What's really unsettling about praetomorphs is how similar they are to xenomorphs, but with key differences that make them uniquely horrifying. They're more organic looking, lacking the biomechanical aesthetic we're used to. Their skin has this fleshy, muscle-banded appearance with visible blood vessels, like something that's been skinned alive. But here's where they get really scary. Praetomorphs are way more aggressive and animalistic than xenomorphs. Regular xenomorphs are calculating predators that capture hosts for the hive. Praetomorphs, they just want to kill everything in sight. They're like xenomorphs with anger management issues. Their life cycle is also disturbing. The chestburster emerges with arms and legs already developed, looking like a miniature adult from birth. It doesn't need to grow and molt. It just starts hunting immediately. The gestation time is also much faster than regular xenomorphs, sometimes taking just minutes instead of hours. What really gets me about praetomorphs is that they represent David's twisted vision of perfection. He wasn't trying to preserve or study life, he was trying to create the ultimate killing machine. And in a way, he succeeded. These things are pure aggression given form, neomorph. If praetomorphs are David's intentional creations, neomorphs are more like his accidental byproducts, and they might be even more terrifying. These pale, translucent creatures emerge from black goo spores that infect hosts through the respiratory system. What makes neomorphs uniquely horrifying is their birth process. Instead of bursting from the chest, they can emerge from anywhere, the back, the throat, wherever they've grown inside the host. The first one we see literally bursts through a guy's spine, and it's absolutely brutal. Neomorphs are way more feral and animalistic than their xenomorph cousins. They don't have the strategic intelligence of xenomorphs. They're pure predatory instinct. They actively hunt and consume their prey, rather than just killing for defense or host gathering. We see them tearing into corpses and feeding, which xenomorphs rarely do. Here's what's really unsettling. Neomorphs seem to lack any kind of hive mentality. They're solo hunters, which makes them unpredictable. You can't anticipate their behavior based on hive tactics because they don't have any. They just kill and eat whatever they can find. Their appearance is deeply unsettling too. The pale, almost skeletal look, combined with their more humanoid facial structure, makes them feel like corrupted versions of us. They're what we might become if we were infected and twisted by alien pathogens. Hammerpede. The Hammerpede from Prometheus is one of those creatures that perfectly embodies cosmic horror. It's what happens when something innocent becomes deadly through alien influence. Originally, these were just regular worms living on LV-223, but exposure to the black goo mutated them into 4-foot-long serpentine nightmares. What I find fascinating about hammerpedes is their design. They look like cobras crossed with some kind of deep-sea creature, with this translucent, pale grey skin that makes them seem otherworldly. Their heads have this distinctive crest that can unfold to reveal rows of sharp teeth. It's like nature's own switchblade. But here's where they get really terrifying. Hammerpedes are incredibly resilient. They have acidic blood like xenomorphs, and they can regenerate lost body parts in seconds. You can cut one in half and it'll just keep coming. They're also extremely fast and strong enough to break bones by constricting around limbs. The most disturbing thing about hammerpedes is how they represent the black goo's ability to corrupt and weaponize any life form. These weren't created to be weapons. They're innocent creatures transformed into killing machines by exposure to alien mutagens. It's a perfect metaphor for how the engineer's biological weapons can turn anything deadly. What makes my skin crawl is thinking about how many other harmless creatures could be turned into hammerpedes with the right exposure. The black goo doesn't discriminate, it just corrupts whatever it touches. Predator horse. Now here's a creature that doesn't get nearly enough attention. The predator horse from the 2010 Predators movie. I know it sounds weird, but bear with me. These aren't actually horses. They're alien creatures that the super predators use as mounts on the game-preserved planet. From what we see in the film, these creatures are perfectly adapted to the super predator's hunting style. They're fast, agile, and presumably intelligent enough to be trained for hunting purposes. The fact that the super predators use them suggests they're probably quite fierce and capable of keeping up with their riders during high-speed pursuits. What's interesting is that this shows us another side of predator culture. they don't just rely on their technology, they also domesticate and use native creatures from their hunting grounds. It's like having a hunting dog, but scaled up to alien proportions and probably way more dangerous. The design implies these creatures are probably quadrupedal with some kind of armor or natural protection, given that they need to survive in an environment where they're hunting alongside predators. They're probably bred or trained specifically for aggression and endurance. Predator hound. Speaking of predator hunting companions, let's talk about the predator hounds from Predators. These things are absolutely brutal. Picture a creature that looks like a cross between a wolf, a hyena, and a wild boar, but covered in horns and with that distinctive mottled green and brown skin. These aren't just hunting dogs, they're living weapons. The tracker predator uses them to flush out prey, and they're incredibly effective at it. They're fast enough to keep up with running humans, strong enough to tackle grown men, and tough enough that bullets barely slow them down. You need carefully placed shots targeting vital organs to actually hurt these things. What's really cool about the pack dynamics is how the tracker controls them. He uses some kind of whistle or sound from his biomask to call them back once they've served their purpose. It's like having perfectly trained attack dogs, except these dogs are alien killing machines. The most terrifying thing about predator hounds is their durability. We see them shrug off shotgun blasts and even minigun fire. Their thick, armored hide and high pain tolerance make them nearly unstoppable once they're locked onto a target. They represent the predator's ability to turn even companion animals into apex predators. Trypananchar ocellus, T. ocellus, species 64, Alien Earth. Now we're getting into the really disturbing territory with the creatures from Alien Earth. T. ocellus, also known as the eye octopus, is hands down one of the most unsettling parasites I've ever seen in science fiction. Imagine a giant eyeball with multiple pupils attached to octopus-like tentacles. That's T. ocellus. But here's where it gets really horrifying. This thing literally tears out the eyes of its victims and burrows into the socket, using its tentacles to connect with the optic nerve and brain. Once it's in there, T. ocellus can completely hijack the host's body, turning them into a puppet. We've seen it take control of cats, sheep, and even humans. The host becomes a zombie, but they're not mindless. T. ocellus has problem-solving abilities that approach near-human intelligence. What makes this creature particularly terrifying is that it seems to have its own agenda. In one scene, it actually tried to warn someone about danger, suggesting it might not be purely hostile. It even fought a full-grown xenomorph, which shocked everyone watching. This raises the possibility that T. ocellus might actually side with humans against other alien threats. The psychological horror of having your body controlled while your consciousness might still be aware is absolutely nightmarish. It's like the worst kind of body horror combined with mind control. D. plumbicare, the orchid, Alien Earth. D. plumbicare, nicknamed the orchid, is a perfect example of how alien life can disguise itself as something harmless. It presents as flora, basically a giant plant pod, but it's actually a carnivorous alien organism. What makes the orchid particularly insidious is its hunting method. It hangs from ceilings like an innocent plant, but it has this long stamen-like appendage that it uses to lure prey close. Once something gets within range, it pulls them inside its pod-like body, where they're killed through suffocation, digestion, or exhaustion. Think of it like a Venus flytrap, but scaled up to catch human-sized prey. The fact that it looks like a harmless plant makes it the perfect ambush predator. You'd walk right past it thinking it's just alien vegetation, and then suddenly you're being pulled into a living death trap. The files from the Maginot suggest that D. plumbicare is highly efficient at what it does. It's not just randomly grabbing things, it's a specialized predator that's evolved to perfectly mimic harmless plant life while being anything but harmless. This creature represents one of my biggest fears about alien life. The idea that we might not even recognize a threat until it's too late because it looks like something completely benign. Fly creature, Alien Earth. The flying bug from Alien Earth might look like just another space insect, but don't let that fool you. These creatures are about the size of squirrels and have some absolutely terrifying abilities that make them way more dangerous than they appear. First off, these things are builders. They can create their own hives and live in organized communities. But here's where it gets weird. They eat geological matter like metal and rocks, using acidic secretions to melt down their food. That means they can literally eat through spacecraft hulls or building materials. What makes them particularly deadly is their feeding behavior. When one of these bugs landed on a synthetic human in the show, it sprayed acid into his face, melting his synthetic skin and metal components before feeding on the remains. They're not just scavengers, they're active predators that can dissolve their prey. The fact that they can create hives suggests they have some level of intelligence and social organization. A swarm of these things could probably eat through an entire facility given enough time. The combination of acid attacks and their ability to consume metal makes them perfect for breaching containment and escaping into populated areas. These creatures represent the kind of practical nightmare that alien life might present. Not just biological horror, but the ability to literally eat our technology and infrastructure. New starfish creature, Alien Earth. While I don't have as much specific information about the starfish creature from Alien Earth, what we do know suggests it's another example of the show's commitment to creating unique and disturbing alien life forms. Based on the naming convention and the show's pattern of introducing parasitic organisms, this creature likely has some connection to marine life from Earth, but twisted into something far more sinister. Starfish in nature have some pretty horrifying abilities. They can regenerate limbs, some species can avert their stomachs to digest prey externally, and they're incredibly resilient. An alien version of a starfish could potentially combine these natural abilities with more aggressive predatory behavior. Imagine a creature that could attach to hosts, regenerate damage rapidly, and possibly even digest victims while they're still alive from the outside. The fact that it's being transported alongside other dangerous specimens on the Maginot suggests it's definitely hostile and probably has some kind of parasitic or predatory abilities that make it a significant threat to human life. Species 19, aka ticks, Alien Earth. Species 19, the so-called blood ticks, represent one of the most viscerally disturbing creatures in Alien Earth. If you hate bugs, you're really going to hate these things because they embody every nightmare about parasitic insects cranked up to 11. These tick-like creatures can burrow into their victims' bodies, where they feed on internal organs and fluids until their rear sacs become swollen with blood. But that's just the beginning of the horror. Once they've established themselves inside a host, they gestate and eventually multiple bugs explode out of the victim's body. What makes this particularly terrifying is the combination of parasitic feeding and reproductive cycle. It's not just one creature killing you, it's one creature using your body as a breeding ground for dozens more. The victim essentially becomes a living incubator for the next generation of parasites. We see this happen to prodigy special forces in the show, and it's absolutely brutal. The idea of having creatures living inside you, feeding on you, and then bursting out to continue the cycle is pure nightmare fuel. It's like the worst aspects of ticks, wasps, and chestbursters all rolled into one horrifying package. These creatures represent the kind of insidious threat that could spread rapidly through a population if not contained properly. Cricket bugs Alien Earth. The cricket bug from Alien Earth is one of those creatures that we've only gotten brief glimpses of, but what we've seen suggests it's going to be significant as the series progresses. Like many of the other specimens collected by the Maginot's crew, it managed to survive the crash and is now loose on Earth. Based on its name and brief appearance, this creature likely has some similarities to Earth crickets, but scaled up and weaponized in typical alien fashion. Crickets in nature can be quite aggressive and have powerful legs for jumping and strong mandibles for cutting. An alien version could potentially combine these traits with enhanced size and predatory behavior. The fact that it was specifically collected and contained suggests it has abilities that made it worthy of study. Given the pattern of other creatures in the show being parasitic or highly aggressive, the cricket bug probably has some kind of dangerous capability that we haven't seen yet. What's interesting is that it was among the specimens that didn't escape immediately, suggesting it might be more cunning or patient than the other creatures. Sometimes the threats we don't see coming are the most dangerous ones. White Hybrid. The White Hybrid from the Aliens vs. Predator. Deadliest of Species comic series represents one of the most successful attempts at combining the best traits of multiple deadly species. These creatures are the result of mixing xenomorph, yautja, and human DNA, creating something that's arguably more dangerous than any of its parent species. What makes White Hybrids so terrifying is their intelligence. Unlike regular xenomorphs, these creatures can speak, use tools, and employ complex battle tactics. They have the acidic blood and aggressive nature of xenomorphs, combined with the technological aptitude of predators and the adaptability of humans. The white hybrid king was particularly formidable, standing as large as a predalien, but with strategic intelligence that allowed it to command other hybrids like a general. These weren't just mindless killing machines, they were organized, intelligent, and capable of using weapons ranging from plasma casters to human firearms. Their reproductive method was also unique. Instead of traditional egg-laying, white hybrids could use facehuggers to impregnate even other xenomorphs, creating hybrid abominations that defied the normal rules of both species. The most disturbing aspect of white hybrids was their strategic thinking. They could plan, coordinate attacks, and even use psychological warfare. They represented evolution taken to its logical extreme, the ultimate fusion of the galaxy's deadliest traits. Reaper. The Reaper from Alien Resurrection represents what happens when xenomorph genetics get mixed with human DNA through cloning technology. These creatures emerged from Ripley's cloned genetics and showed some truly disturbing characteristics that set them apart from regular xenomorphs. What made the cloned xenomorphs in Resurrection particularly unsettling was their enhanced intelligence and problem-solving abilities. We see them sacrifice one of their own to escape captivity by using its acid blood to melt through containment. That level of strategic thinking and willingness to sacrifice for the greater good is genuinely frightening. The Resurrection xenomorphs also had a more organic, fleshy appearance compared to the biomechanical look of their predecessors. This was likely due to the imperfect cloning process, but it made them seem more visceral and disturbing. They looked less like engineered organisms and more like natural predators. Their growth cycle was also accelerated, with chest bursters emerging almost fully developed and maturing rapidly. One particularly disturbing scene shows a chest burster with enough strength to punch through another xenomorph's skull immediately after birth. The Reaper concept represents the horror of uncontrolled genetic manipulation and the dangers of trying to clone or control xenomorph biology. Even in death, these creatures find ways to evolve and become more dangerous. Rhinth. The Rhinth from Aliens vs. Predator comics are probably the most underestimated creatures in the entire franchise, and that's what makes them so interesting. These are basically alien cattle, huge rhino-like creatures that are raised by human colonists on prosperity wells for farming purposes. But here's where it gets amazing. When the colony gets overrun by xenomorphs, the humans release the Rhinth herds as a distraction, and these harmless farm animals proceed to absolutely demolish an entire horde of xenomorphs. We're talking about creatures that are supposedly just livestock running down the most dangerous organisms in the known universe like it's nothing. What makes this so satisfying is the context. Earlier in the story, xenomorphs had used a different herd of Rhinths as hosts, killing many of them in extremely painful ways. So when the surviving Rhinths got their revenge by trampling the very xenomorphs that had killed their kind, it was genuinely gratifying to watch. The Rhinths proved that physical strength and armor can sometimes be more effective than acid blood and biomechanical perfection. Their thick hide and massive bulk made them essentially immune to xenomorph attacks, and their stampeding power could crush through chitinous exoskeletons like paper. This represents one of my favorite themes in the franchise. Sometimes the most unexpected creatures can be the most dangerous when pushed to their limits. River Ghost. The River Ghost from Predators is one of those creatures that perfectly embodies the game preserve planet concept. These humanoid aliens were captured by super predators and dropped onto the hunting planet specifically because they were deemed worthy prey. What makes river ghosts fascinating is their unique biology. They're bipedal humanoids covered in an insect-like exoskeleton, but they don't have visible eyes. Instead, they have a sensory organ covered by a movable bone flap in the center of their forehead. Their teeth extend forward from their mouth, leaving gaps that give them an unsettling appearance. These creatures are incredibly fast and agile, which is why they were chosen as worthy prey for predator hunts. Their digitigrade legs give them superior running speed, and their elongated talons make them dangerous in close combat. They also have these strange, wing-like protrusions on their backs that add to their alien appearance. What I find really interesting is their symbiotic relationship with small, cockroach-like creatures that live on their skin. This suggests they've evolved complex biological relationships that help them survive in their native environment. The river ghost represents the idea that there are entire species out there that are dangerous enough to be considered worthy game by the predators themselves. That's a pretty high bar for lethality. Hellhound. The hellhounds from Predators are basically alien war dogs cranked up to 11. Used by the super predators as hunting companions, these creatures are the perfect example of how the Yautja can domesticate and weaponize other species for their hunts. These creatures have that distinctive mottled green and brown coloration that makes them perfect for jungle camouflage. Their body structure is described as resembling a blend of wolf, hyena, and wild boar, which gives you a good idea of just how intimidating they must be. They're covered in horns and have incredibly thick, tough skin that can deflect small arms fire. What makes hellhounds particularly dangerous is their pack hunting behaviour, combined with their incredible durability. Bullets from handguns, shotguns, and even miniguns only do minimal damage. You need carefully placed shots targeting vital organs to actually hurt them. Their high pain tolerance means they'll keep coming even when wounded. The tracker predator who controls them uses some kind of whistle or sound from his biomask to call them back after they've flushed out prey. This level of control shows just how well the predators have trained these creatures for hunting purposes. Hellhounds represent the terrifying idea that even the predator's pets are apex predators in their own right. When your hunting dog is bulletproof, you know you're dealing with a seriously advanced species. Bodyburster. The bodyburster is one of the most disturbing xenomorph variants ever created, and that's saying something in a franchise known for body horror. This creature represents what happens when xenomorph biology gets mutated beyond its normal parameters. Unlike regular chestbursters that emerge from the host's chest, bodybursters literally transform the entire host body into themselves. The host's muscle, organs, and tissues are broken down and reformed into the creature's own structure. It's like the most horrifying butterfly metamorphosis you could imagine, except the host is conscious for most of it. What makes this particularly terrifying is that bodybursters may retain some memories from their host's previous life. Imagine being faced with something that looks like a twisted version of someone you knew, possibly with fragments of their personality still intact. Their reproduction method is also unique. Instead of laying eggs like other xenomorphs, bodybursters can bite victims and inject them with a genetic cocktail that begins transforming them into more bodybursters. It's like a zombie virus, but worse because the transformation is conscious and painful. The fact that only 2 recorded instances of these creatures exist shows just how specific the conditions need to be for them to develop. But that rarity also makes them more terrifying. They're so unusual that there's no established protocol for dealing with them. Briar wolf. Briar wolves from the planet Ryushi are the perfect example of apex predators that even the predators consider worthy prey. These scaly, reptilian carnivores have vaguely canine traits, but are far more dangerous than any earth wolf. What makes briar wolves particularly interesting is their role in the ecosystem. They regularly hunt and consume the cattle-like rhinths that also inhabit their world, establishing them as top-tier predators in their native environment. The fact that they can successfully hunt creatures tough enough to trample xenomorphs tells you everything you need to know about their capabilities. Their scaly, reptilian nature suggests they're well-armoured and probably quite resilient. The wolf designation implies pack hunting behaviour, which would make them even more dangerous when encountered in groups. Pack-hunting reptilian predators that are tough enough to be predator-prey. That's nightmare material right there. The fact that predators specifically travel to Ryushi to hunt briar wolves shows that these creatures are considered a legitimate challenge even for experienced Yautja hunters. In the predator universe, that's about as high a recommendation for deadliness as you can get. Briar wolves represent the kind of specialized apex predators that exist throughout the galaxy, creatures that have evolved to dominate their environment so completely that only the predators see them as worthy challenges. Quatsarij. The Quatsarij are some of the most legendary creatures on Yautja Prime, and they hold a special place in predator culture as the ultimate coming-of-age challenge. These beasts are considered one of the fiercest creatures indigenous to the predator homeworld. What makes quatsaridge so significant is their role in Yautja society. Young predators traditionally hunt in groups of 3 to take down a single quatsaridge. Successfully killing one is required to become blooded and recognized as an adult clan member. Only after proving themselves against a quatsaridge can young predators break away from their pack and travel off-world to hunt bigger game. The physical description suggests these creatures are absolutely massive and incredibly dangerous. They're described as having immense strength, capable of crushing boulders and tearing through Yautja armor like paper. Their thick, reinforced hide is resistant to most weapons, including high-energy plasma projectiles. What's really terrifying about quatsaridge is their adaptive hunting skills and territorial instincts. They can blend into their surroundings, use terrain to their advantage, and will relentlessly pursue any intruder until either they or their prey is dead. Some legends speak of week-long battles between Yautja hunters and single quatsaridge. The fact that it takes multiple elite predators working together to bring down one of these creatures tells you everything about their deadliness. Bulak. The Bulak from LV-1201 are basically alien moose, and while that might not sound scary, these creatures are anything but harmless. Despite their herbivorous nature and relatively calm demeanor, Bulak are large enough and strong enough to be dangerous to humans exploring their territory. What makes Bulak interesting is their role in the ecosystem of LV-1201. They share the planet with much more dangerous creatures like xenomorphs and chameleons, which suggests they've evolved some serious survival skills. Their moose-like appearance includes the size and strength that comes with being a large herbivore in a dangerous environment. In the context of Aliens vs. Predator 2, Primal Hunt, Bulak serve as one of the creatures that predators hunt for sport on LV-1201. The fact that predators consider them worthy prey, even as herbivores, suggests they can be quite aggressive when threatened and are probably much more dangerous than they appear. Their presence on a planet that's also home to xenomorphs and other deadly predators indicates they're tough enough to survive in one of the most dangerous environments in the galaxy. That kind of resilience and strength shouldn't be underestimated, even in creatures that primarily eat plants. Oswok. The Oswok are another species from the extensive catalogue of creatures that populate the Alien vs. Predator universe. While specific details about their biology and behaviour are limited, they appear to be part of the native fauna on various planets where predators conduct hunts. Based on available information, Oswok are large brown creatures with short, rounded snouts and a distinctive hump on their backs. They're described as naturally fat and passive, suggesting they might be herbivorous like the Bulak. However, their inclusion in predator hunting scenarios indicates they possess some characteristics that make them interesting or challenging prey. The fact that these creatures exist alongside more obviously dangerous species like xenomorphs and various predators suggests they've evolved survival strategies that allow them to coexist in hostile environments. Sometimes, the most unassuming creatures can be surprisingly resilient or dangerous when threatened. Oswok represent the broader ecosystem of alien worlds. Not every creature needs to be a killing machine to be significant in the larger context of interplanetary biology and predator hunting culture. Tetrabrachial humanoid. The tetrabrachial humanoids are some of the most physically impressive aliens in the AVP universe, and they represent exactly the kind of challenge that predators actively seek out. These four-armed, red-skinned humanoids stand over 7 feet tall and possess incredible agility and combat prowess. What makes these creatures particularly fascinating is their apparent intelligence and tribal culture. They're not just mindless beasts. They have primitive technology and social organization, which makes them more dangerous than simple predators. The combination of physical capability and intelligence creates the perfect storm of challenging prey. Their forearms give them a significant advantage in combat, allowing them to wield multiple weapons or grapple opponents in ways that bipedal species can't match. Their red skin and three-fingered hands give them a distinctly alien appearance, but their humanoid structure makes them familiar enough to be unsettling. These creatures are native to the planet UE-753, and there are suggestions that they may have been subjects of engineered genetic experiments. If that's true, it would explain their impressive physical capabilities and place them within the broader context of engineer-influenced species throughout the galaxy. The fact that individual tetrabrachial humanoids can go one-on-one with predators and put up incredible fights speaks to their combat effectiveness. In a universe where predators are considered apex hunters, that's extremely high praise. Vidrak. The Vidrak, also known as the Phoenix, represents one of the most extreme examples of evolution under harsh conditions. This winged creature inhabits the radioactive infernal deserts of Yautja Prime, surviving radiation levels that would kill almost any other life form. What makes Vidrak legendary among the predators is the role it plays in their culture. Only Yautja, who achieve the rank of Spearmaster, are allowed to hunt these creatures, and those who succeed earn armor made from the Vidrak's hide. This Phoenix armor is considered nearly indestructible and is a mark of extreme honor. The creature's biology is perfectly adapted to its environment. Its scales are hardened by eons of exposure to fire and radiation, giving it an almost metallic appearance. Its tattered wings allow it to soar through toxic skies, and its entire body seems to shimmer with an ethereal light that reflects the planet's burning soul. What's really fascinating is how Vidrak embodies the mythical Phoenix concept, rising again and again from the ashes of its former self. This regenerative ability, combined with its radiation resistance, makes it nearly impossible to kill through conventional means. The fact that only the most elite predator warriors even attempt to hunt Vidrak shows just how dangerous these creatures are. They represent the ultimate test of a predator's skill, courage, and worthiness. Zivanian ape. The Zivanian apes from the jungle planet Zivan represent yet another species that has caught the attention of predator hunters. As four-armed arboreal aliens, these creatures have evolved in ways that make them uniquely suited to their jungle environment. What makes Zivanian apes particularly interesting is their combination of simian characteristics with the four-armed physiology that seems to be relatively common among certain alien species. This suggests they've evolved for complex manipulation of their environment and potentially advanced problem-solving abilities. Their arboreal nature means they're likely extremely agile and capable of rapid movement through jungle canopies. Combined with four arms, this would make them formidable opponents in their native environment, able to swing, climb, and potentially attack from multiple angles simultaneously. The fact that they're classified alongside other species that predators hunt suggests they possess some level of intelligence or combat capability that makes them challenging prey. In the predator universe, being ignored is often safer than being considered worthy of the hunt. Tanaka 5 Scorpion. The Tanaka 5 Scorpion, featured in the classic Kenner Aliens toy line, represents one of the more exotic xenomorph variants that emerged when the franchise was exploring different host organisms. These creatures originated from the desert planet Tanaka 5 and show characteristics of both xenomorphs and their arthropod hosts. What makes these scorpion aliens fascinating is their adaptation to desert environments. Like their Earth counterparts, they possess the segmented bodies and defensive capabilities of scorpions, but scaled up and enhanced with xenomorph biology. They bear a striking resemblance to ancient sea scorpions, suggesting they might be semi-aquatic despite their desert origins. The planet Tanaka 5 is described as having underground lakes where these creatures spend much of their time. Now, this dual environment adaptation, both desert surface and underwater, makes them incredibly versatile predators. Their scorpion-like anatomy includes large pincers and 8 crab-like legs, plus those distinctive fin-like structures that help with underwater navigation. What's particularly dangerous about these creatures is their venomous capabilities combined with xenomorph aggression. The combination of arachnid hunting instincts with alien parasitic biology creates something that's perfectly adapted for both terrestrial and aquatic ambush tactics. Kriltic. The Kriltic are scorpion-like creatures native to LV-742, and they serve as one of the many dangerous species that populate the planet featured in Aliens vs. Predator Extinction. These creatures represent the kind of hostile local fauna that makes every alien world a potential death trap. While specific details about Kriltic biology are limited, their scorpion-like nature suggests they possess many of the defensive and offensive capabilities that make Earth scorpions formidable. Scaled up to alien proportions and living in an environment that also hosts xenomorphs and predators, they've likely evolved to be far more dangerous than their Earth counterparts. The fact that they're featured as antagonists in the Extinction game suggests they pose a real threat to both human colonial marines and predator hunting parties. In a universe where both of those factions are heavily armed and experienced with dangerous creatures, that's saying something about the Kriltic's capabilities. Their presence on LV-742 adds another layer of danger to an already hostile environment, showing how alien worlds often have entire ecosystems of deadly creatures rather than just single apex predators. Kern, the Kern from LV-1201, represent another example of the diverse and dangerous fauna that populates alien worlds in the AVP universe. These small, dog-sized creatures might not seem intimidating compared to some of the other species we've discussed, but their spiky appearance suggests they're well defended against predators. What makes Kern interesting is their size and apparent pack behavior. Being dog-sized means they're small enough to get into places where larger predators can't follow, but large enough to be dangerous to humans if encountered in groups. The spikes covering their bodies suggest they've evolved in an environment where they need serious defensive capabilities. Their presence on LV-1201, alongside xenomorphs, chameleons, and other dangerous creatures, shows they've adapted to survive in one of the most hostile environments imaginable. That level of resilience and the fact that they merit inclusion in the planet's dangerous fauna catalogue suggests they shouldn't be underestimated. LV-1201 Chameleon. The LV-1201 chameleons are some of the most impressive non-xenomorph creatures in the entire franchise, and they perfectly demonstrate why alien worlds are so dangerous even without parasitic monsters. These massive dinosaur-like creatures combine incredible size with advanced camouflage capabilities. What makes these chameleons truly terrifying is their ability to curl into a ball and become virtually invisible by mimicking large boulders. Imagine walking through what you think is a rocky area, only to have one of the rocks suddenly unfurl into a giant predator. Their gorilla-like movement pattern suggests they're incredibly strong and agile despite their size. But here's where they get really scary. These creatures can emit a concussive beam by ionizing oxygen. That means they have a ranged attack that can potentially stun or injure prey from a distance. Combined with their camouflage abilities, this makes them perfect ambush predators. The fact that these creatures coexist with xenomorphs on LV-1201 shows just how dangerous they must be. Any creature that can survive in the same ecosystem as xenomorphs without being wiped out is definitely apex predator material. What's really disturbing is that these creatures can evade infrared detection, which means predator thermal vision doesn't work on them. That's a serious tactical advantage that few creatures possess. LV-1201 Tentacle. The LV-1201 tentacles represent the kind of underground horror that makes alien worlds dangerous, even when you think you're safe. These large, burrowing, worm-like predators are perfectly adapted for ambush attacks from below ground. What makes these creatures particularly terrifying is their hunting method. They wait underground, probably sensing vibrations or heat signatures, then burst up to grab unsuspecting prey with their tooth-filled mouths. It's like having to worry about the ground itself being hostile. Their size and predatory nature suggest they're capable of taking down human-sized prey easily. The fact that they're described as having mouths filled with sharp teeth indicates they're built for killing and consuming relatively large organisms. The underground tunnel systems these creatures create also serve as natural highways for other dangers on LV-1201. In Aliens vs Predator 2 Primal Hunt, these tunnels sometimes lead directly to xenomorph hives or engineer ruins, making them doubly dangerous. What's really unsettling is that you might not even know these creatures are present until it's too late. The ground could seem perfectly safe right up until a massive predatory worm erupts beneath your feet. Growtai. The Growtai represent the absolute pinnacle of dangerous prey in the Predator universe, and they hold a legendary status that speaks to just how terrifying these creatures must be. These incredibly powerful creatures are native to LV-742 and serve as the ultimate test for predator hunting clans. What makes Growtai legendary is the sheer difficulty of hunting them. The game Aliens vs. Predator Extinction tasks players with taking down 3 of these creatures, but even that understates their danger. According to Predator legends, entire clans have been slaughtered by single Grottai, and packs of them have wiped out even the strongest hunting parties. The physical description of Grottai is genuinely intimidating. They're described as giant lizards with bear-like characteristics, featuring huge claws and mouths filled with teeth that extend far down their necks. They're about 1.5 times the size of a full-grown predator, which puts them in kaiju territory. What makes them even more dangerous is their intelligence and hunting capabilities. Grottai can see through predator cloaking technology, which eliminates one of the Yautja's primary tactical advantages. They're fast, incredibly strong, and apparently cunning enough to turn the tables on experienced hunters. The Council of Ancients uses Grottai hunting as a test to determine which clans are worthy of advancement, showing just how legendary these creatures are within predator culture. Jack Lizard. The Jack Lizard represents one of the more mysterious creatures in the AVP universe, with limited information available, but enough to suggest they're part of the broader ecosystem of dangerous alien fauna. While specific details are scarce, their inclusion in the creature catalogues suggests they possess characteristics that make them noteworthy. Based on their name and classification, Jack Lizards are likely reptilian creatures with some unique characteristics that set them apart from more common alien fauna. The Jack designation might refer to their size, behavior, or some specific capability that makes them distinctive. Their presence in the expanded universe materials suggests they're part of the complex ecosystems that exist on various alien worlds. Even creatures that might seem minor compared to xenomorphs or predators can play important roles in understanding how alien biospheres function. The fact that they merit inclusion in creature databases indicates they're either dangerous enough to be threats or interesting enough from a xenobiological perspective to warrant study and classification. Marvelous verdict. These creatures deserve to be explored more. So, as you can see it, this universe is absolutely packed with incredible creatures that deserve way more attention than they get. What I find amazing about all these creatures is how they show us that the AVP universe isn't just about aliens versus predators. It's about an entire galaxy filled with diverse, dangerous, and fascinating life forms. Each one has evolved unique survival strategies, from the engineer's godlike technology to the Hammerpede's simple but effective regeneration. Some of these creatures are apex predators in their own right. Others are the ultimate prey that even predators respect. And some are just trying to survive in hostile environments filled with even deadlier organisms. But they all contribute to this rich, terrifying universe that goes way beyond just 2 species fighting each other. Which of these creatures do you find most terrifying? Which ones do you think deserve their own movies or shows? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into sci-fi horror. Until next time, stay safe out there. You never know what might be hunting you. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.
Yo, yeah, I'm back. Man, just looking at all those different fucking creatures. It was my first time seeing that video. I'm like, wow. Shout out to them and shout out to the guys over there, the marvelous videos. And you do right, man, by subscribing to them. So you'll find a bunch of different gems in there from a bunch of different characters that you and millions of others like. So, and this is another channel that is good at breaking down characters' anatomies and their abilities and capabilities. So, yeah, I don't know why, man. This damn thing's being slow with my icon. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully it pops up. But yeah, so that was it. And thank you guys, man, for coming through. Um, hit the like, share, subscribe. Hit the follow for the Rumble. Like I said, the link is in the description if you want to come through over on the Rumble. So give me around like 2 hours after I end this, before you catch me over there firing up the live stream. So hit the follow. So yeah, you'll get the notification. And yeah, and also if you feel like busting out, unfortunately, the Cash App is also in the description. And yeah, man. Yeah, the outro and intro, don't worry about it, YouTube. I'm going to take it off from YouTube and keep it up in the Rumble. So if you don't see the intros and the outros that I'll play, you can find them over there on Rumble. Some of them, whatever, I may leave it up on there on YouTube, but not right now. But yeah. But man, you let me know what you guys think, man, about these different creatures, man. Like, hit, put their name in the comment section, of the creatures that intrigue you. The names of them and the timestamp. So I and other people can go back and look at, what you was talking about. So, so we can hit that timestamp and find that creature. Yep. So my creature on that list that intrigues me is the red alien. This they said it was like 7 to 8 feet tall or some shit with 4 arms. The dude said that they can even rival even the Yautja clan themselves. So that's because, yeah, I mean, shit, he's right on that tip. That a lot of these characters, man, need to be, they need to have more spotlight put on them, man. Like they need to bring them out, to the live action, from the comics. Especially that 4-armed creature, that red creature, that red alien. Yeah. Cause I'm like, ooh man, that'll be awesome too to see this motherfucker, man, doing some damage. Like putting up a good fight then with the predators. Oh man. Creative ideas I have in my head, boy. Man. Let me get used to this AI tool, boy. Man, I'll create some shit. But yeah, thank you guys, man, for watching. It's your guy, Ray Hama, your host. 1 versus a million is the motto. I'm not your fan. I'm not your stan. For I am brother. And yeah, like I said, don't forget to hit the like and share. Hit the like and share for me. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all then, like in around a couple hours.